Wonderful. I hope you guys are doing awesome. In the previous class, we understood how do we prepare the data for analysis and reporting. Now the question is, Anna, we learned the preparing, analyzing, and also reporting the data. Once we prepare the data for analysis and we present it to the reports, is that the end, Anna?
No, sir.
Not really. Okay, Anna says no. As Anna said, no, it is not the end of analysis. Okay, so then we also need to look at the different aspects. So, is the thing which is very important in the data analysis, data pipelines, data engineering, apart from analysis and reporting, what is that?
Monitoring.
Monitoring. Okay. So now it is the time to monitor the whole. When I say monitor, so Shabna, I'm talking about this monitor, right?
No.
Yes, I'm not talking about. Then what is monitoring according to you in the context of the data? What is monitoring in general, Shabna?
Checking for any
Hmm.
error. So after creating the report, we
Ve-
have to check whether it's running correctly, and we
Very
need to
good.
find
You are
any
right.
issues.
You are right. Okay. Can anyone else give it a try? What is monitoring in general?
Keep watching, sir.
Keep watching. Okay. That is very simple and straightforward. That's good. Anything else from anyone?
Managing tasks.
Managing different tasks. Okay. So monitoring is a process of continuously observing, measuring, and evaluating the activities, systems, processes to ensure they are operating correctly and effectively. Beautiful, na? See, we observe, we measure, and also we evaluate the activities, systems, and processes. Why do we do that? To ensure that everything is going fine. Right? That is what is monitoring, isn't it? You guys are able to use these jargons now from now on. What is monitoring? Whatever you guys have said is also right. Try to use these jargons. Okay. In the whenever you have a discussion and all those. Now, in the context of Fabric data warehouse, what are we monitoring, Malini? In the context of the Fabric warehouse. Okay. See, we understood the generic definition of a monitoring. But tell me, what are we monitoring in data warehouse?
Checking the storage, creating the pipelines correctly,
Mhm.
and transforming the data correctly, and analyzing the data.
Very good. Okay. So, what you said is also right, Malini. Okay. So, at a high level, we will be monitoring cost and performance. And the next one, what we monitor is usage and insights. Okay. So, in the cost and performance, we'll be tracking the costs, query performance, that these in a way would help in optimizing the resource usage. In case of usage, we are trying to understand of usage patterns of data warehouse itself, queries, how many times queries are run, and how often they have failed. Are there any issues? All those things are measured, are evaluated, right, as a part of the monitoring. Now, in order to take care of this cost and usage, right, whatever we discussed, okay, in the previous slide, we need to understand something called capacity. So, what are we discussing now? We're discussing about monitoring. In the monitoring, we monitor the cost and performance, usage and insights. Okay. In order to measure the usage and insights, we need to understand the capacity. In general, what is capacity in general, Anna?
So storage, like how much data can we store?
Okay, capacity, that's right. Okay. So when I talk about the capacity in the Microsoft Fabric, I'm talking about the pool of resources that can be used to implement the fabric capabilities. What are the fabric capabilities? It can be data warehouse, it can be building a pipeline, it can be multiple aspects of the fabric. It is pool of resources. It is an abstract concept for the users like us, but still, if you really want to get a hang of it, so like in a SQL database, one capacity unit is equals to 0.383 SQL database V cores. I mean, for us, when I say abstract, we need to look at the only capacity unit level. Underlying of that, it is not required for us. It's more of an abstract for us. But still, if you really want to get a hang of it, it is 1C equals to 0.383 SQL database V cores. Okay, you need to understand a bit of a hardware and all those things, electronics, like data warehousing in the capacity unit in the data warehousing is equal to 2 fabric capacity units. So as I said, don't worry about that. Just understand capacity is nothing but a pool of resources. Okay. So now, whenever you get a Microsoft Fabric account to your organization, okay, you will purchase, I need so and so capacity units based on your usage pattern, based on what and all you are going to use, what and all Microsoft Fabric capabilities you use for your organization. Okay. So, and also, as we discussed, it is a pool of resources. So, pool of resources or a capacity unit determines the processing power available for the workloads. Okay. So, we have already discussed about a tenant, right?
Yes, sir.
It is a kind of a dedicated space for an organization. That is a tenant, right? Okay. And now, for a tenant, capacity units will be allocated for a particular tenant. Okay, that is how it works. Okay. Now, when you talk about the capacity units, the cost of using Fabric is based on the capacity. Means now, as we discussed, when an organization is purchasing or getting the license of Fabric, so they will say, I would need some capacity units. So based on how many capacity units are being used by an organization, the cost is determined based on that. Okay. So as we already discussed, capacity units is nothing but a pool of resources. Depending upon the action, what you are performing, a certain pool of resources are used. Coming back to the data warehouse as such, in the data warehouse, capacity units are consumed by a data write activities. Okay, so when you run a queries to the data warehouse, basically if you say in a data warehouse, like you have the underlying of that is one lake, underlying of that is a Parquet files, right? Okay, so depending upon the how much of resource is used to fetch the data from a one lake, so based on that, the capacity units are consumed in the data warehouse. Okay, but why am I talking about this capacity units, Anna?
So based on capacity units only, organizations will be charged.
Okay.
Monitoring purpose, we are using the capacity units.
Yes. Okay. So see, what we discussed, we want to monitor. We want to monitor cost and performance, usage, and one more is what did we discuss?
Insights.
Yeah. So in order to monitor the usage, we need to understand the capacity units. Okay. Capacity units are the resource pools. Okay. So whenever the organizations gets the Fabric license along with the I need so many capacity units. So in the data warehouse, depending upon the data read and data write activities, capacity units are consumed. Okay. So far so good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, why do we really monitor the capacity, Malini?
To charge, calculate the cost of the workspace.
Very good. That is one, because it is directly linked to the. So why do we monitor? We monitor usage and also cost to manage the cost effectively. We want, and also depending upon the usage, we want to optimize the resource allocation, like which resources need to be allocated to which department and all those things. Okay. And also avoid throttling and performance issues. Okay. All of you understand performance issues. What is throttling issues? Can somebody tell me what is?
So like speed should not go down.
So when I say throttling, na, see if anything is running at a like maximum capacity, it's somebody is trying to come and like hold your neck so that you are having a difficulty in breathing, right? That is called as a throttling. Okay. So in terms of resources, if the capacity is used to that extent that it may shut down the system itself, that is throttling. Okay. So we need to avoid that. Okay. So in order to manage the costs effectively, optimize the resource allocation, in order to avoid throttling and performance issues, we got to monitor the capacity. And we do have different benefits of that. Okay. Like one is cost optimization. Okay. We can track the usage and tends to control the spending. We can also, depending upon the usage, we can suggest the performance improvement by detecting the bottlenecks and throttling issues and all those things. And we can, based on these two, we can plan the resources, adjust the capacity for the based on the real usage patterns, rather than allocating the resources for a department which is being which is not using the capacity for the full extent. We can allocate the resources for the departments or where the capacity is needed. Okay, and we can do a couple of things. We can regularly monitor the capacity in its consumption. Okay, we can optimize the queries to reduce the unnecessary data read and writes. We can upgrade the capacity if frequent throttling occurs. If again and again throttling occurs, that means to say that we need a capacity we don't have. So it is better to go and ask Microsoft, hey, please give us some more 50 more capacity units. Okay, so and we can also use the one lake storage efficiently to minimize the data movement cost. Okay, we can do, these are the different benefits and these are the best practices, okay, of a monitoring. We understood, okay, monitoring is like evaluating and looking at the resources to ensure everything is fine, right? But how do we monitor the capacity of the fabric? How do we do it? Okay, we do that with the something called Microsoft Fabric Capacity Metrics app. It is as straightforward as possible. Okay, so it is we monitor the capacity in Fabric by using a Fabric Capacity Metric app. Okay, we use a metric app to monitor the capacity. So what is Capacity Metric app? It is a monitoring tool because we are using it for a monitoring. It is a monitoring tool that tracks the capacity usage. Okay, so when the Microsoft Fabric is installed, as a part of this installation only, the metrics app is installed by the administrators. Okay, and as we already know, Fabric Capacity Metrics apps help us to monitor the capacity units being consumed by different departments while using the Fabric capabilities. It will help us to detect the performance, bottlenecks, and throttling. And what is monitored? We can monitor the data warehouse. We can monitor the current activities. We can monitor the queries. Okay. In the Fabric, since we are talking about the Fabric, within the Fabric data warehouse, we can monitor the data warehouse itself. We can monitor the current activities in the data warehouse. We can monitor the queries. Within the data warehouse, any idea what and all can be monitored within the data warehouse? Any thoughts?
Read and write.
Very good. Okay. So within the data warehouse, we will identify the trends in query execution and also data movement. Okay. What are the different trends in the query execution or data movement? Okay. We'll also try to detect if there is any throttling when the resource limits are exceeded. We'll monitor the data warehouse activities either by identifying the trends and also detecting if there is any throttling there. Okay. So we monitor the connections. How many active connections are there with the data warehouse? Okay. How many authenticated sessions are there with the data warehouse? Okay. And also how many queries are running? All these things are tracked and monitored as a part of the current activity. as a part of the queries, what will be monitored? Any thoughts from anyone?
Execution time, sir.
Okay. So we track the performance of the queries. So like you may have some many queries as a part of your data warehouse. Okay. They will go and check which are the queries which are frequently running and which are the queries which run for a long time. Okay. So we'll identify which are running for a long running. So instead of just leaving those queries as is, go ahead and optimize them. See if you can use a loop or you can use some way of optimizing so that the query takes less time by producing the same results. Okay. And then we will also look at the historical insights. So it basically like in the last 15 days, how many queries are run? Okay. And how many, each query took how much time? Okay. And which query took more time? It will also help us to give the historical insights about the. You guys got a very high level picture of the monitoring in a Fabric data warehouse?
Yes, sir.
Got it? That's all for now. Like and subscribe and turn on notifications for future videos. Thank you.